Stage 15 runs 193 kilometres from Limoux to Montpellier. Just one fourth category climb early in the stage to interrupt the profile, the Côte de Villepassant. Otherwise, only coastal crosswinds to worry about before the intermediate sprint, which is placed just 46 kilometres from the finish today. And the sprint for the big points in Montpellier itself. If the break survives today, it'll be a miracle. This is about as close to a guaranteed bunch finish as the Tour can provide. 170 men at the start this morning. William Bonnet of Française des Jeux came in outside the time limit yesterday and got eliminated. But the two crash victims from stage 14 both started. Laurens ten Dam had one of the nastiest low-speed crashes we've seen for a while, seeming to have his overshoot on this corner sort of under control before a rock intervened and he performed what can only be called a face plant. He came in at the finish looking like a candidate for a face transplant and headed straight to hospital. Nothing broken, astonishingly, but he is riding with a nasty gash in his nose. Short of enforced hospitalisation, Jens Voigt always starts. 2 crashes for him yesterday, after which he took his annoyance out on the rest of the field by riding ferociously at the front and then treating his own wounds at the finish with a damp towel. Now, no crashes to report early on, I'm glad to say. There was a 5-man break out front, pretty much from the off though. In it, Michael Delage, who was in yesterday's break, and 2 fellow Frenchmen, Samuel Dumoulin and Anthony de la Place. With them were the Dutchman Nicky Terpstra and the Russian Mikhail Ignatiev.
As we look, the gap is 1:27. We're seeing 1 kilometre to go to the sprint. They haven't come back, nor are they going to before this sprint is enacted. So Mark Cavendish will fight out for 6th place, while these 5 will take all the prize money and the best points.
Well, a new organisation, a new idea from the organisation of the Tour de France was to change the points of classification. Yes, lots of points at the finish of the stages, but also 1 single point on the course where you can earn yourself points. 20 points for the first rider to cross the line, going down to a single point for 15th place. But there are 5 riders clear, so the main field will be charging up there to try and earn themselves 10 points for the first rider to cross the line.
It looks as though we're going to be sprinting in the tree cover here, so that will negate the wind problem. Not the case when they come to the finishing line. The wind has gone from full-on tail to very slightly cross from the left now as we sit at the finishing line, so it's changing direction slightly. Now watch for number 133. He's the expert in the breakaway. He's been in enough of them. And Samuel Dumoulin, the sprinter who won in Nantes once and finished 4th on the stage to La Grande Motte, not far from where we are now, has just shown them how fast he is. But has he gone too soon? As Michael Delage inches his way forward, and it's going to be very, very close. Where's the line? It's probably, well, I think Dumoulin got it. Just pipped it on the line there, Samuel Dumoulin, but he misjudged that almost. He is the sprinter here, but Delage isn't the mate. He's the little one on the left there, Samuel Dumoulin. Well,
I think it was Delage.
I'll reserve on that one. We'll go to the photo finish. I hope they have a photo finish at this stage, I believe they do.
They do, because it's such an important sprint point, Phil. They do have a photo finish out on the course for this, because it could be this intermediate sprint that decides the wearer of the green jersey in Paris. At 46 kilometres to go, the gap has come down to 1 minute, and still a very long organised train. Look at Philippe Gilbert coming back up there in the jersey, and look at the acceleration going on the right-hand side, trying to get themselves maximum points for Mark Cavendish.
Well, this is what we expected, and it is in fact Rojas, Ventoso, and then Rojas has got the back wheel of Cavendish. Now they've gone up on the inside, they're taking Cavendish here. Rojas is on the right here, he's gone very wide, he's looking at the back wheel of Mark Cavendish. It isn't going to help. Cavendish just checking on the speed here, and they're coming up on him, and he gets the line. It was close, but I'll give that one to Cavendish. But again, they seem to misjudge the length of that sprint.
It was a long sprint, and they started a fair way out. Bernie Eisel coming across now. There's Matty Goss as well. The main field were not too concerned about contesting that sprint point. And it is amazing in this Tour de France, these new rules, how the sprinters are battling for everything. As we look at it from the sky, you can see there Philippe Gilbert. Those are the top 3 riders, Phil, in the competition. 1, 2, 3. Mark Cavendish, Rojas and Gilbert. And I think it's going to go like that all the way down to the Champs-Élysées.
So the point score for them is 10 for Cavendish, 9 for Rojas and 8 for Gilbert. And there they are.
They're all queuing up onto the wheel of the man who wears the green jersey. They're all waiting to battle with Mark Cavendish. I noticed that Alessandro Petacchi had a very good organisation around him. The last man to lead out Alessandro Petacchi will be the German, and that, of course, Danilo Hondel. But there's a rider moving on the right from FDJ.
Well, look, we're running very close to the crowd line. This is Philippe Gilbert who's made the move, and that's a typical move. He's an opportunist, and they're coming after him now, and there's a rider from FDJ trying to reach him here. They've just caught him at exactly 3 kilometres to go.
Well, it's a good move on that little incline with 3 kilometres to go. You have to be an extremely special athlete to survive off the front end of a peloton. Gilbert will not be happy, though, Phil, to have somebody sitting there locked onto his slipstream.
Well, I really don't know. I can't read. Could be Jeremy Raw again, who has now lost his leader's jersey, who's come out of the pack flying after him here. But they've gone under the ground, and they'll pop out the other side, and they've got a gap. And this is a gap again, which disturbs the rhythm.
A third rider has come across the gap to join them. They keep looking over their shoulders. You can't look over your shoulders at a time like this. You've just got to buckle under and keep riding and try and survive, because you know the main field is charging at 40 miles an hour.
That is Anthony Roux, I think, looking at his face, who's got in on terms here with Philippe Gilbert. They can't even work with Gilbert. He's just going far too quickly as he tries to take. He wants the points, remember, the green jersey points here. He'd love the stage win. He's had one already, but Anthony Roux is the rider in white. Now we're just going to work out the rider from Movistar who's come up.
Well, there you can see no panic at all on board the HTC High Road Express, but formally you can see Daniel Hondo there on the front coming by. Now the little bit of disorganisation.
Now this is how to beat Mark Cavendish as they go into the last 2 kilometres, is to throw individual attacks at the sprinters team and break up the rhythm, and that is working so far. Cavendish, though, watch the green jersey. He's holding position. He is about 7 men down there. He still has control.
Well, they've got now the organisation of Lampre coming to the front end of this pack, and not far back is Gregor Bole. He'll be looking after Alessandro Patacchi. Patacchi's the rider in the pink and blue jersey there with the lime green red bike.
And the rush through in the centre in the black is Geraint Thomas trying to pull through Edward Boysenhagen up towards the line. Bit of bumping and barging. There is Geraint in the white sunglasses off to the left here. He's got held too from Rigoberto Urán, the new man in the white jersey on the Team Sky.
Well, Cavendish is boxed in at the moment, but right up there as well in about 5th position is Ben Swift. Once again, it's Geraint Thomas on the front, but now we've got the organisation coming from HTC, but Omega Pharma Lotto moving on the left-hand side, and that's for Greipel.
And Greipel is on the left now. Now the final lead-out is trying to be started here, but very shortly it's got to be Renshaw who takes up the running. Greipel looks as though he's sat up out of this. Now Renshaw goes, and still in his slipstream is the Manx missile. Mark Cavendish is waiting to be launched, and again out of the middle of the field and the debris he is going to launch his attack. And I'll tell you now, as I look at this, when he goes there is nobody going to touch him, and he goes as he makes it. That's Daniel Oss who's coming after him in 2nd place, but Renshaw is too fast for Oz. But look at the run of Tyler Farrell coming on the right, and Mark Cavendish gets it on the line. He makes it look easy, but boy, again, only just ahead of the field.
Phil,
brilliant enough.
He didn't make it look easy, Phil. The team made it look easy for him, because he cannot win a race without that team around him, setting him up to absolute perfection. That's Daniel Oss over there in the lime green Liquigas Cannondale, but win number 19 for this man. He's unbelievable.
Yes, at the same time, entirely predictable. Not that it wasn't an exciting run-in, but comfortable in the end. Cavendish already raising his arms by the time Farah's wheel hit the line. Here's the order then. Cavendish, Farah, Patacchi. Daniel Oss was 4th. Jose Joaquin Rojas 5th. Ben Swift, mixing it in a sprint for the first time this tour, was 6th. Gerald Scholich 7th, and Tony Gallopin 8th.